issue you're worried about, but we do not need relief from the zoning bylaw, then that's not something that we can discuss as part of the application and hearing process. We also won't talk about property values or pollution or property maintenance or noise issues. Those are things outside of the Committee of Adjustments jurisdiction. Also, we treat each application as if no illegal construction has occurred. So in that case, we don't entertain any kind of comments about illegal construction and prosecution for that or any of the above. Also, please be mindful to be respectful of everyone dealing with these proceedings. So we will not tolerate in any way any negative comments about anybody involved in these proceedings. And finally, if we find during the course of the discussions that we need to either increase relief to a minor variance that's before us or to add a minor variance, we will need to adjourn that item to allow a recirculation of the application. And so at that point, we will adjourn to allow all of that to happen and to have the proper public notice provided. So speaking of notice, there is a requirement for statutory public notification requirements, which means a sign posted on the property. Typically, we've done this in person where we had the statutory declaration simply signed and provided to us in hard copy. During the online with the online hearings, we have adopted essentially a solemn oath or sworn declaration that that sign posting was in fact done within the requirements of the regulations. With respect to quorum, if we lose quorum for any reason, so of course that would be technical reasons for the most part, we would step down any items that haven't been heard to the next meeting. That's not likely to happen. We have a short agenda this evening, and we have a full panel here. So quorum is 3, and so I doubt that's going to happen this evening. So in terms of the hearing process, again, very short hearing. We've got 4 items. What we're going to do is run through some of the easy ones quickly, and then we'll get to the last ones. What we'll do in all cases here is no presentation. We will simply ask questions of the applicant or the agent for clarification. We have had a chance to look at all this information in advance, but sometimes we just want to be sure we understood what we thought we understood. And then from there, we'll open it up to members of the public. You have a chance to ask questions. We can ask questions of you as well. And then after that's all done, I will close the public hearing portion of that application. And then we will deliberate and come to a vote for a decision, which of course can be either that we can approve, we can deny, we can adjourn for the reasons that I mentioned earlier, or we can reserve, which I don't think is going to be an issue this evening. So I won't walk us through that right now. In terms of the decision, though, as you know, it's an oral decision for the most part, but there are written decisions that are essentially issued within 10 days of the hearing, and those written decisions have more specifics about the reasoning of the committee for those decisions. All decisions of the committee are subject to a 20-day appeal period, at which time any decision can be appealed to the Ontario Land Tribunal, and that will, of course, be your choice. So with that, then I think we'll go to the matters of business. We have 2 items, 2 minutes to adopt. So do I have a mover to adopt the minutes of March 3rd? Ms. Willis, thank you. Seconded by Mr. Hindle, so they're adopted. Do I have a motion to adopt the minutes of March 16th? Ms. Markovich, thank you. Seconded by Mr. White. So that takes us through the minutes. I also need to know whether or not there's a declaration of conflict of interest from any of the members of the panel, either tonight, our agenda, or any other agenda that was heard by the committee. Okay. In which case, for the record, there's no declarations of conflict of interest. And all right, so we don't have any adjournments as such, but we do have a withdrawal, and we'll start with that one, which is application number 1. I'm not sure if the agent, Mr. Wagner, is present to speak to that withdrawal. Coordinator, can you confirm whether or not Mr. Wagner is present?
No, Madam Chair, he's not present.
All right. So I guess with that, then there's really only I guess we can vote to withdraw the application, but I don't think that's even something we need to do. So maybe just for the record, we recognize that application D080222 A-00067 for 3651 Prince of Wales is withdrawn by the applicant by request earlier today. So with that, number one is dealt with. Mr. White, did you have a question about that?
Yes, Madam Chair, I believe there was a request for that withdrawal included a request for refund of fees.
Since Mr. Wagner is not here to speak to that, I didn't raise it. That was why I thought we kind of made the decision already. He will be advised of our decision on that. And if had he been here, we could have entered into that discussion with him, but okay. So, but thanks for the reminder on that. And all right, so the next application, so as I said, no adjournments necessarily, but there are a couple of applications that we would like to call down. And the first one I'd like to call down is 1558 Baseline. I believe that's the agent is Mr. Hume. If you're present, if you wouldn't mind coming forward. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Chair.
So, Mr. Hume, my understanding is there's a bit of an issue with the sign.
Well, Madam Chair, as of Friday of last week, there wasn't an issue with the sign. I was on site and the signs were installed. I read this morning a submission by the local community association that noted that the signs were down. And so when I read that this morning, I went back out there and of course they were gone from both posts. I found them together in a corner of the lot and reinstalled them. And I thought that I should make you aware of that. I'm not sure how to resolve that, but I couldn't make the disclosure or the declaration knowing what I found and what the community association had advised.
All right, so if you're not comfortable with doing the declaration this evening, then we can't hear the application. That's part of the rules.
Well, I can't say that the sign was there, but it wasn't there. It was apparently not there when the community association visited. And when I arrived today, the posts were in the ground, but the signs were not on the post.
Right. So it really comes down to whether or not you are prepared to swear or do the solemn oath or swearing that the sign was posted. I mean, that's the process we have to go through. If you're more comfortable, we can adjourn this and allow for another 2 weeks if you'd like.
I posted the signs as required. I'm just concerned about the length of the declaration that states that they were available and visible for the period of time. I can't attest to that. So
we're at an impasse, because if you can't attest to that, then we can't hear the application.
Right.
So we need that declaration to proceed.
Okay. Well, in the abundance of caution, Madam Chair, and I wouldn't want to have this appealed based on the signs not being in place, and knowing the community and the community association the way I do, that's a really that's a good possibility. I would think that an adjournment would probably be in order.
All right, so let's, and Mr. Hume, I think the committee is sort of in agreement with you. We had a chat about this. Our concern, of course, is that this was done maliciously, and we don't know that. But just based on the fact that it seems like it didn't seem too natural. It didn't seem like it was a wind incident.
It wasn't natural at all, Madam Chairman. The signs were both together. They were both facing in, and they were together. I picked them up off the ground. So, okay. And they were posted. One was posted on Pender, and one was posted right on Baseline. So it's very unlikely that one would have come off and blown right together. So they were 30 meters apart from each other.
So we agree, in abundance of caution, we will do this. If it happens again, then we'll note that for the record, that in fact that the applicants made every effort to do that and to meet the spirit of the regulations, and we can proceed with the declaration. I think that's the best way to proceed.
I would agree, Madam Chair.
Okay, in which case we have the hearing on, what is it, May 16th? Is that the next date? I believe it is. Coordinator, could you just confirm to me, is it the 16th, or have I got that date wrong?
That would be
14
May
days.
18th.
18th. It's 14 plus 4. I should have been able to do the math, you would think. But okay, so the 18th. So Mr. Hume, we'll see you on the 18th, and hopefully we'll have much better luck the next time around.
Right.
Ms. Willis, did you have a question?
Yes, Madam Chair, actually it's for staff. I just wanted to, something that, not knowing that this was going to be adjourned, went through this application in detail. And I would just like, when it comes forward again, to clarify condition number 3 with regard to the requirement for a daylighting triangle, which the standard condition says that it has to be free of plant material. And it looks to me from the material provided that it's full of trees. And I just wanted clarification on that. Do they really want the applicant to cut down the trees to dedicate a triangle where there's trees also in the road allowance? And that might save a lot of discussion at the meeting if it's clarified in advance.
I asked the same question.
Okay, excellent. That'll give us a chance to get that information. So wonderful.
Hume, we agree.
We do. Great minds think alike.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks then, Mr. Hume.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. Okay. So the next application I'd like to hear, call down for possible adjournment is the 767 Pleasant Park Road. I'm looking for Mr. El Khatib. Mr. Khatib? I guess we're going to need to hear from you, Ms. Cully, too. Mr. Khatib?
Hello, everyone.
Hello, we are perfect. We can see you. Great. And we can hear you. Wonderful. It all works. Okay. So I'm just, the reason I've called you down is because reading the staff's report, we understand that there was some missing information from the materials that was supplied, had to do with the height of the garage walls, the exterior walls of the garage. So did we get that information?
Yes, it's a Frank. Just Frank contact man. He said he sent it already. He
Right,
sent it. Frank.
So Ms. Cully, can you confirm that you now have that information? You've been able to verify it?
Through you, Madam Chair. Yes, I did receive that information 2 minutes before the hearing, but I have reviewed
Sorry
it.
about that. Just sorry.
The exterior
for all
walls
the
of
trouble.
detached garage do not exceed 3.2 meters.
All right, in which case we don't need another minor variance and we can proceed with hearing this item. Perfect. All right, we'll see you a little bit later, Mr. Khatib. I think we've got one application. We'll call you back.
Thank
Okay.
you very much. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Okay, with that, then I think we're going to hear application number 3, which is for 850, 950 Champlain Street for some easements. And I'm looking for Mr. Dillon, Dillon. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Chair.
All right, so I'm going to need to read something to you because we don't have a statutory declaration from you. So do you solemnly swear or affirm that the notice provided to you as part of the application process and by the committee was posted at the property to which the application applies for the prescribed number of days prior to the hearing, and that that sign was clearly visible and legible for the entirety of that time? Do you either swear or affirm that to be true?
I swear this to be true.
All right, thank you very much. I also note that there's a small housekeeping requirement to change on your notice. My understanding is that the, let's see how it reads here. The easement land shown are part 5 on plan 4R 33973 will have a frontage of 6 meters on Femi Cote Avenue and 6 meters on Champlain Street, and will contain an area of 586 rather than 568 square meters. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, perfect. So for the record, we have amended the notice. No presentation, as I mentioned, required this evening. Any questions from the committee on this application? All right, not seeing any questions. I think it was pretty straightforward, so that's great. I do not have anyone on my speakers list. So is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak either for or against this application? Now's your chance. All right, not seeing anybody come forward. Committee, time for a vote. All those in favor? All right, for the record, the application is unanimously granted. And I don't see any conditions or anything else that affects our application. So I think we're short and sweet on this one.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee.
Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
You too.
All right, back to number 4. So if we could have Mr. El-Khatib back. Mr. Khatib, El-Khatib.
Hello, everyone.
Hello again. So I'm going to need to read to you and you're going to need to respond. So do you solemnly swear or affirm that the notice provided to you as part of the application process and by the committee was posted first at the property to which the application applies, that it was there for the prescribed number of days prior to the hearing, and that it was clearly visible and legible for the entirety of that time? Do you either swear or affirm that to be true?
I swear, and it's still up there.
Okay, excellent. In that case, I think there's a couple of housekeeping elements, and I guess I can look to Ms. Cully again just to correct me on this. Is the relief required then for variance A to permit a reduced total interior side yard setback of 2.11 rather than 1.95, with an easterly interior side yard setback of 0.4 meters and a westerly interior side yard setback of 1.63 rather than 1.47 meters. Is that correct? I'm looking for confirmation.
Through you, Madam Chair, that is correct. That's according to the survey provided.
All right, thank you. Mr. El-Khatib, do you concur?
I confirm, yes.
All right, perfect. Okay, in that case, that I believe is the end of our housekeeping notice changes. No presentation, questions from the committee? Anything, committee? No? Oh, Mr. White, go ahead.
Madam Chair, yeah, the staff report just mentions the discrepancies between the site plan and the plan of survey. And I'm assuming we're approving, or we're considering all of the dimensions that are shown on the plan of survey as opposed to the site plan. Is that correct?
So I guess what we'd be looking for, Ms. Cully, is confirmation that these changes that we just read into the record, in fact, do exactly that. That it corrects the description in the minor variances to match the survey. Ms. Cully, can you confirm that?
Through you, Madam Chair, that is correct. It matches the survey rather than the site plan provided.
Okay, thank you. Good catch, Mr. White, to be sure that that's correct. All right, any other questions? With that, I don't believe I have anybody on my speakers list. So to the audience, is there anyone here that would like to speak either for or against this application? Okay, I'm not seeing anybody come forward. So with that, we can go to a vote. All those in favor? All right, so for the record, the application is unanimously granted. And that, I believe. Any questions, Mr. El-Khatib, before we go?
No, thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Madam Chair. Thanks for the committee too. Thank you very much, everyone.
All right, thank you. Have a good evening. And that, I believe, is the end of our agenda.
What mean it's granted, it's accepted, not accepted.
It is granted. Your
Okay,
application is granted.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye now. Okay. Are we done? I think we're done. End of the agenda. That has got to be the shortest meeting we have ever had. So in my 10 years on the committee or whatever, I think that's the shortest one. So with that then, folks, motion to adjourn. All right. Motion by Ms.